Holzigstein, Grand Prince of Reikland. 2 centuries ago, since the Emperor Magnus the Pious defeated the last great Chaos incursion at the Siege of Prague, the Empire has enjoyed time of relative peace and prosperity. Now dark clouds gather, as both new and old enemies of humanity must bear strength once more. Marauding greenskins, shambling undead, and rumored creatures that burrow beneath the cities of men all march and scheme, but most prominent, the existential threat to the Empire and all nations of the old world, are the servants of the ruinous powers, the gods of chaos, whose power and number would eclipse the nations of the world should they ever be united by a single entity to lead them. Bolstered by the favor of their dark masters, a beastman brayherd, 1,000 strong, has emerged from the Reikland forest. The beastman threatened Reikland, but Reikland's state army is yoked by its current mission of occupying the city of Uberschreik after seizing the assets and driving out its previous rulers, the Jungfreuds. After suffering a number of setbacks that culminated in the Battle of Hegelstad, the Empire consolidated its remaining numbers at fortified von Richthofen Lodge, south of the capital city of Altdorf. Meanwhile, refugees and travelers seek a sanctuary from the only significant Empire force within the 100 miles. On the 11th of Sigmar's site, early evening is fast approaching when the final group of fresh conscripts, supply wagons, refugees, and assortments of travelers swept away by the Reynolds luck enter the stockade surrounding the von Richthofen Lodge. Evening is descending on Reikland as the gates of the stockade surrounding von Richthofen Lodge slam shut. The field before the 3-story lodge is muddy, its current messy state brought on by melting winter snow and the great number of Reikland State Army troops that now camp on the lodge grounds. The patches of pristine grass can still be spotted here and there among the mud and remaining snow.
Oh, the suits of his men are red.
Which men? Sorry?
The men at the door.
Their seals are red, and maybe silver, white.
I mean, honestly, I think that's pretty close to standard Imperial colors anyway. I think, like, all of them have a red background in general.
Reichsguard colors are red and white, usually, but Zeb is right. Red and white is pretty common all across the Empire.
Because, yeah, pretty much like the Nordland, not Nordland, Everland is red, black, and gray. So, yeah, pretty much.
Indeed.
Now this lodge palisade, that's better than nothing.
Indeed.
We got these random dude guys over here, blue and yellow.
Yes, the stockade now houses a military camp. Many hundreds of troops huddle among the mass of tents, around fires, while enjoying their evening supper and generally wasting time while waiting for deployment. To one side, a formation of troops of makeshift militia made of refugees and other assorted peasantry is being drilled to move in formation by a tired-looking instructor. His growing frustration evident by the tone of his commands as yet another man trips over his own spear when attempting to turn with his fellows, and in process bringing those whose flanks also onto the ground. Somewhere outside, a sermon to Sigmar is being held. Just inside the gate, a train of horse-drawn supply wagons is now being examined by an officer and a scribe. Behind the wagons, a group of travelers seeking refuge from the predations of beastmen that now threaten the land. Right. As I was saying before, I believe all of you except Laurentius have just arrived. Is this correct?
I believe so.
Probably, yeah. Yes, I would be
You're
part of
muted,
the
Vaughn.
train of what?
Yeah, no, there's.
I'd be part of the train of refugees.
Totally a refugee.
Cur-
Totally
currently
a
there is-
refugee.
Currently, there is a truly massive, dark-haired woman railing at a couple of the soldiers, ranting about needing to get back to the river and her boat.
Indeed.
You told us we was to deliver him here. You didn't say nothing about staying here.
The soldiers mostly ignore you and are clearly eager for the scribe and sergeant to move on to you. So currently they are processing other people. You are by happenstance situated at the end of the caravan, so to speak. Meanwhile, inside the lodge, in a well-appointed sitting room with a luscious bar counter, is a huddle of activity. It has been made into a makeshift command center. A table has been placed in the middle with various maps and reports being looked over by military officers and officials with messengers coming and going. But by the counter sits a lone figure, a man in noble's garb, tipping a glass of wine into him and quickly refilling it again from a bottle next to him. By his side stands a different man. Laurentius, would you like to describe yourself and give a brief explanation how you ended up here?
Well, I'm a youngish man, about 6 feet tall, and I came here about a week ago to seek employment as and training as a gameskeeper in the noble's lands. And now that there's a bustle of activity, my trainer has suddenly taken ill and is unable to attend the fight, whereas Laurentius is quite eager to get into the fight. To a name for himself.
Indeed. In fact, suddenly ill with the running thoughts. Very difficult to do much anything when you have to run into the privy all the time. Nonetheless, your seemingly your employer, Bertram von Richthofen, was initially surprised by your arrival, having had no idea you would be arriving at his lodge. And with the military now taking what's the word? Residence in his taking residence in his holdings. He hasn't had much to do but drink and lament his lot in life, so to speak. Nobody has it as hard as him, having to survive here out of far away from civilization, even as he pours himself in yet another drink. He has mostly allowed you to act freely, occasionally having you wait for him and fetch him another bowl. But if you've wanted to do something specific, you've mostly had a chance to escort water carriers from a nearby river 2 kilometers or so away. Since the well in the stockade is functions well, but it is not enough to feed everyone, so to speak. Nonetheless, as Bertram glances out the window, he notices the train, and briefly his features brighten. Say, is that another group of travelers? Do you think they have do you think they could provide us with entertainment, young Laurentius?
Well, it seemed to be a curious lot. I mean, that has to be the tallest woman I've ever seen. He's peering out of the window.
Quite. It has been awfully boring time, and I what would I give just to be back in Altdorf with friends? Instead, I'm still stuck here. Why don't you go, Laurentius, and go and see if any of them would be worth my time?
Yeah, I will head outside and go to look at the people that have gathered.
Indeed, yes, and that's where we go. Finally, the scribe and sergeant, having taken several people's names and occupations, have and then have them shuffled off to either join other non-combatants that have currently stayed in the camp, either cooking or moving boxes or crates or other supplies around, and have moved the final 5 people. The scribe adjusts his glasses, prepares his notes, and looks over. Where do we start? We'll go from the left to right. And tersely asks, name and occupation. Would you like to? Yes, go.
Bernush Petbomb, Ratcatcher, the Outdorf Guild of Ratcatchers.
The scribe will note it down. Bernush, please describe yourself, if you will, and explain how you came to be here. What twist of fate carried you to this end of the world?
He is a young, wiry-looking man in his mid-20s, just barely over 6 feet in height. Ugly, poorly kempt brown hair and a draggled attire. Still, something kept vaguely approaching the respectability required of a burgher, even if he is demonstrably of the gutter class. Has a sling and various other things bound up in a sack on his back, and a very long stick caked with dried blood.
Indeed.
And small, tough-looking, yapping, vicious brown dog.
Indeed, I was about to say he came with a companion of his own.
Do we have
Best
to get you a
doggo.
new rat stick, Charlie?
He doesn't look too fundamentally different from the many other poor souls dragged along here, but he is actively around as though he has purpose and employment, and bright eyes constantly seeking opportunity.
Indeed.